Hey guys, Sam here. As some of you may know, Nintendo has released a brand new update for Super Smash Bros. Melee, first time in over 15 years. They just dropped the new ISO on their website last week with very little fanfare behind it outside of the competitive Smash community. So I just wanted to make this video in order to highlight some of the changes they made, including character balances, cosmetic updates, and just overall quality of life improvement. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up is Samus. Now, if you know pro players like I do, you'd know their first complaint about Samus is the speed of her rockets, so that's been adjusted according to the demands of the community. They now function basically like mid-air mines, just kinda hanging around until someone runs into them. It does go a bit against canon, sure, but I think it's necessary in this case to make Samus more balanced overall. Next up is Donkey Kong. Now, if you know great apes like I do, you'd know that, pound for pound, simians are much more powerful than humans in terms of raw physical strength. Yet, old Donkey Kong's throw left something to be desired. This patch made the force of his throw much more realistic. Allow me to demonstrate. Now, the difference might not be immediately visible, but as a Donkey Kong main, I can tell you for sure that it definitely feels stronger at least. So I'm excited to see how this shakes up the meta going forward. Next is young Link and Pichu. As you can see, Pichu's size has been updated in order to better match the canon of his character, which is a boon for Pokemon fans everywhere, I'm sure. As for young Link, his down B has been completely reworked, since Nintendo found his use of bombs to be in poor taste, and quite frankly, I'm inclined to agree. After all, Link is supposed to be a hero, not a villain who destroys indiscriminately. So now he summons food, which I feel emboldens his virtuous character much more accurately. He also no longer uses a bow, instead firing arrows through sheer tyranny of will. Next is Mr. Game & Watch and Falco. Both of these characters now behave much more realistically, which has helped to make them much more immersive in my opinion. As you can see, Falco, being a bird, can now actually fly as his character was meant to. Additionally, since Mr. Game & Watch is technically completely two-dimensional, he now has no friction whatsoever, behaving instead like an infinitely thin ice skate as one would expect. He also makes like a shit ton of bacon now. Next is adult Link, who has gone through similar alterations to his younger counterpart. Firstly, instead of a bow, he now carries his trademark parasol. Additionally, his hyper-realistic bombs have been replaced with bob-ombs from other Nintendo game, as a little Easter egg. Now, if you watch the bombs a little too closely, they do tend to behave a little oddly. I'm not entirely sure if this was intentional on Nintendo's part, but it isn't major enough to disrupt immersion, so I can let it slide. As for the map, Corneria, you may notice some small cosmetic changes to the decals on the ship. This was a smart move by Nintendo in my opinion, as it helps to appeal to their two main demographics, those being children and lonely people. Moving on, here are Fox and Peach. Now, Nintendo has gotten a little political in their redesign of these characters, which I respect immensely. Firstly, Fox no longer carries a gun. Instead, he has a barrel which fires lasers harmlessly into the distance behind him. Additionally, if you have a keen eye, you may have noticed that Peach's design has been slightly altered in order to pay homage to the late great Barack Obama. Next up is Captain Falcon. Most of the changes here have been made to better reflect the extreme nature of his character. I really like his updated animations personally, they feel much more fluid and dynamic than his clunky old ones. Additionally, as we all know, the Falcon Punch was probably the most OP move in the game, so that's been totally scrapped and replaced with the much more tactically oriented Falcon Backflip. Next we have Dr. Mario and the Ice Climbers. Once again, these two have been updated in order to push forward some of Nintendo's political agendas. For one, Dr. Mario has been remodeled to represent the American opioid crisis, dispensing pills at an inordinate rate in order to put the populace around him into a permanent stupor. Additionally, the female ice climber, Nana, has been made much larger and more powerful than her male counterpart, so as to portray the superior strength and resilience of her gender. So those are just a few of the many changes made to the new Melee build. Overall, I think this is a very positive thing for the Melee community and Smash as a whole, and I'm super excited to see what this does for the game's competitive scene. Anyway, till next time, I'm Salmonella, signing off.